everyone, and welcome to the special edition of A Plus Wrestling, where we talk about the worst of 2024. And really, here's the thing. Wrestling is, everyone loves wrestling. We love wrestling, especially here at A Plus Wrestling. We really try to keep a positive look into wrestling. But sometimes there's just stuff that really bothers us. And that's what we're going to be talking about here on this episode as we talk and chat about all things that really bothered us in 2024. We're your hosts. I'm Boris. And on this week's panel, he is none other than Yorkie.
Hey, how you doing, fellas?
And all the way from Edmonton, Andre C. Andre, how's it going?
I am doing well, gentlemen. Happy to be here.
Excellent. It is going to be a fun time. Some of the panel couldn't make it, but we really want to get this out on time. Ish. So we're going to have a smaller panel this time, and obviously we're going to go through our picks, but more importantly, we're going to be going through you, the listeners' picks, which yet again, thank you so much for all of your responses. The response was awesome, and we hope that it's something that we're going to keep doing moving forward. And like I said, it's we try to keep a really positive look of wrestling here at A+, but sometimes, man, there's just shit that just you gotta call out for its stupidness, for its awkwardness, for its weirdness. And here's the thing, right? Sometimes the worst necessarily isn't the worst. It's something that just doesn't work out. Sometimes it's something that really bothered us. Sometimes it's something like that you need to get off your chest. And that's what this is. It is a venting session. But guys, like real quick, last time we talked about all the good in wrestling, and even as I'm looking through the worst, some of the worst really isn't that bad.
Well, it depends on what your class is bad.
There's some bad. There's some very bad.
There's bad.
The thing is, there is. I avoid the bad. That's the thing. I try to.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's unavoidable.
Exactly. Like this past weekend or this past Friday SmackDown, things like that. But what I'm trying to say is, like, sometimes it's just like, it's bad, but could be worse. And like I said, as I'm going up and down the list, there's a lot of that. There's some obvious choices. There's some choices that are going to make some people laugh. And let's just start and get right to it with the worst male wrestler. We're going to give our picks, and then we're going to give the listener picks. So let us start with Yorkie. Who is your worst wrestler for 2024 on the male side?
MJF.
Wow. I'm not surprised about that. I'm really not surprised about that at all.
I can't stand. Do you know what? Ever since he's come back, he's been absolute turgid. It's the storyline that picked up. Well, to be fair, since All In last year, anything he's done has been shit. I just can't at all with him. I'm no.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I absolutely understand that pick. He wasn't really on my list per se, but I knew that a lot of people were going to pick him.
His in-ring work and his mic work, fine. But it's just there's been dealt a lump of shit, basically, with this
That's the thing. He is a classic case of bad booking. And let's hope that 2025 is a better year for him. But like I said, I've always said, MJF and Wardlow, put them back together. Andre, who's your worst wrestler on the male side?
Can I have two? Because I have one for North America and one for Japan. So my Japanese worst of is Evil. I'm sorry. Dude needs to just go away. And Evil, if before this whole House of Torture gimmick, Evil was incredible. Like his in-ring, when he wants to wrestle and do good stuff, he is amazing. But he's just been so bogged down by the constant run-ins and bullshit, and I just hate watching him every time I see him on screen. And then for the North American side, I subjected myself to this company this year, and it's Sami Callihan. Watching him in MLW was just watching somebody just repeatedly smash their head into a wall. I guess Tua Tagovailoa, maybe kind of like him. It's terrible, and I'm just like, there's nothing good about you.
Yep. Yeah, I totally understand that. Yeah, that's a great pick as well. So my pick is actually Chris Jericho. He's just not entertaining anymore to me. You know, a lot of people will make the thing, oh well, that's because he's a heel and he's doing real heel work. No, it's just like at this point, it's just not entertaining. It's not fun. I just don't want you on my screen. Every time you do show up on my screen, I am willing to change the channel. And for me, that's kind of how I defined a lot of these categories is if this happens, when this happened, when this is talked about, when this person shows up, how willing am I to change the channel? And with Chris Jericho, if it wasn't for me having to watch Dynamite each and every single week because of my slam reports, man, I would honestly not watch often, especially when Jericho is on or when I know that Jericho is going to be on. So that is my pick. All right, let us go to the listener pick. Again, this one doesn't surprise me a lot, but Jack Perry wins Worst Wrestler of the Year with 45% of the votes. In second place, it is Karrion Kross.
That one surprised me a little.
It does. Again, remember, this is the past few weeks, Karrion Kross, and I would say like since November-ish, I think you're really seeing a different side of Karrion Kross in terms of what he can do. But I think a lot of people just didn't like that whole angle with the Wyatt Sixes stuff, and well, at least the beginning of it, and everything that they did around WrestleMania with Lashley and those guys. So I think it's a fair pick in my opinion, but I think Karrion Kross is honestly going to have a breakout year in 2025.
I agree.
So that is that. Let us jump to the next category, which is the worst wrestler on the female side. We're going to start this time with Andre.
I'm going to Japan fully for this because Mel brought her up as her favorite gimmick on the best of. It's Fukigen Death. I hate her so much. Her in-ring is terrible. Her character is terrible. There's nothing good, nothing redeeming about her. She is horrible. Who she was 15 years ago was great. Who she is now is an absolute clown, which she dresses as, and she is absolutely terrible. And I hate her. She is the worst. Fukigen Death is the worst. Do not watch her on Stardom. I love Stardom, but she's my least favorite part of that company.
Yep, I hear you. Yorkie, who is your worst wrestler on the female side?
Wendy Chu. Just take everything that Andre just said about that lady wrestler and just apply it to Wendy, and that's how I feel.
Yorkie, that is my pick as well. Wendy Chu is my pick as well. You know what sucks? She is a great wrestler. She has great persona, but this character of hers is absolutely horrible. It's just a horrible character. You know, it's funny because we went for so long with the bubbly, blonde-haired, blue-eyed chicks, and now it's like we're seeing so much of the opposite, where it's just starting to feel like it's too much at this point. And Wendy Chu just doesn't fit her, in my opinion. So Wendy Chu is my pick for worst female wrestler as well. Let us.
I came close. I did come close to saying Nikita Lyons, but Wendy is just awful.
Nikita Lyons, she's been plagued with injuries. She started off bright, but ever since she's come back, she just hasn't been able to pick it up, both in-ring and character-wise.
Yeah, Lyons is not good.
Yeah. There's only one reason why we're seeing her week in and week out on TV, and let's be honest, that's the sad part right there, especially when there's so much depth in the NXT roster. So let us look to the listener responses. Nia Jax wins with 45% again of the votes.
I think that's an unfair.
I think so as well. I think so.
She had a better year than she previously. I think people are just thinking, "Oh, she used to be crap."
Yep,
I'm going to stick with that.
Look, people, ever since the second she came back, they deemed her as shit. Let's be honest. Yeah. She's had a really good championship run. She's helped people like Candice LeRae, even Tiffany Stratton, get over. I think she's had overall a half-decent year. So
she improved on the mic as well.
Recency bias or just bias in general, that's where this is coming from with Nia Jax. And in second place, again, I think there's a lot of bias towards this person, and that's Mercedes Moné.
No, I don't agree with that at all.
What? Being second? No, she's shit. I've not liked her while she's been in AEW. Don't get me wrong, the matches she's had have been good, but you stick a microphone in front of her, she just...
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly. So again, this is what I mean. There's so many options here, and obviously sometimes we're not going to agree with the majority, and obviously this is a point here already in the second category where we don't fully agree with the listeners. But there you have it. Worst female from the listeners. Nia Jax is first. Mercedes Moné is second. Let us jump to the worst tag team. This one is an interesting one because there were a lot of votes for a particular tag team that also is getting recognized last time. And that's the New Day. They're not the worst one. But it's interesting just how many votes did come in for the New Day, which is why we need this is why I try to give a lot of time for this ballot because, there's so much year. And as WWE is proving right now, especially WWE right now, and I never thought I would say this, it's just how fast-paced and how stories end and how things can change literally week over week. So that's an interesting one. So let us start with Yorkie this time. Yorkie, who is your worst tag team in 2024?
I've got two. I've got one that I think they just don't work as a tag team, and I've got a tag team that I just don't like. So I'm going to go Otis and
Tozawa.
That's it. Akira Tozawa. Well, I don't know what I did. Yeah, I like them both as individuals, but as a tag team, no. And the tag team I just don't like are the Young Bucks.
Yeah. Look, let's be honest. They're on a reduced schedule, and everything that they've done just was not really that great. They're in-ring, okay, whatever. Some of their matches have been good. And Yorkie, that once again is my pick as well. It is the Young Bucks. It is, for me, it was they again, when they showed up, especially with this EVP gimmick, evil EVP gimmick, it just didn't work for me. I wanted to change the channel, and it just abruptly ended all of a sudden. And unfortunately, themselves and Jack Perry have not been seen since. Are they setting them up to be the saviors of AEW? God, I hope not. But yeah,
that sounds terrible.
Oh, I know. But it just everything they've done for me, just this year has not worked with the Young Bucks, unfortunately. Andre, what is your pick for the worst tag team?
Well, I didn't watch a lot of Young Bucks this year, but I know I'm going to probably be putting on my list next year because they've been spending time in Japan and I'm already mad at them. But my worst tag team comes for, I'm just going to say, the entirety of House of Torture in Japan, specifically Evil and Yujiro whenever they get in the ring together. But just that whole faction, when any tag team you put together in that faction, I hate it. Even Sho and Kanemaru, who had a decent match with Sons of Texas just recently at Dynasty, I still don't like them together because there's still too much bullshit from the outside. It's all gimmick. It's all shitty gimmick, and I just hate it so much.
Yep. The House of Torture stuff, like, honestly, to me, that's a major reason why I take time to watch New Japan now. I'm so far behind certain events at this point. Like, I'll watch Wrestle Kingdom and New Year's Dash and stuff like that when it happens. But throughout the year, I start falling more and more behind. And it's honestly, House of Torture, they really suck the life out of New Japan for me. And it's the worst part because, a lot of people want to complain about the Bloodline and their, recursive and constant run-ins and formulaic matches. You watch one House of Torture members matches, you've seen them all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it sucks because every member of that faction, except for Yujiro, are great wrestlers as they are. But when you put them all together and start giving them this let's all interfere in each other's matches gimmick, it just ruins everything for all of them.
Absolutely. Here's the funny part. So worst tag team, just like you, I think people were thinking of stables because the worst tag team for 2024 is The Final Testament, with 56% of the vote is Final Testament. And then in second place from AEW, you get Iron Savages.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can see that.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
That's those the Bear Bronson and Bear Boulder dudes.
Yeah.
They. When I've watched ROH, they've been bad.
Yep.
Oh.
Like I mentioned, some notable items here, and you get New Day, you get Pretty Deadly. Not someone, but a couple people voted for Grizzled Young Vets. We had Hank and Tank from NXT. They were almost my choice, to be honest. Death Riders. A lot of not many tag teams here. And I think this is a point that you made, Yorkie, last time, was that tag team wrestling just wasn't the same in 2024. It was really lacking.
Yep. Yeah, there's no. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Exactly. It's lacking. What else can you say? All right, let us jump to the next category, which is Worst on the Mic Male. This time we are going to... Well, you know what? I'm going to give my choice this time. First, and again, similar to my worst male, it's Chris Jericho. This whole shtick needs to go. I cannot stand this shtick. His trying to be this pompous, I don't even know, in your face, look at me, I'm on your TV screen, even though you don't want me to be on your TV screen. Guess what? I'm going to turn off my TV screen. And that's... If anyone, honest to God, thinks that is him getting this character over, you're wrong. People literally want to turn off their TV sets, right? That's the thing. I understand that you're going to be angry at a heel, and that's doing heel work. But no, sometimes there's X-Pac heat, and I'm going to shut off my TV heat. And that's, honestly, for me, what Chris Jericho has become. It's just, worst on the mic, 2024, for me, is Chris Jericho. Yorkie, who is the worst on the mic on the male for you?
It's a tie. It's Adam Cole and MJF.
Wow.
Just purely because of the shit, that whole shitstorm they had to do. Yeah, it's terrible. If you can't get into it, then they've tried the best to try and...
It's crazy how they literally went from the hottest thing in AEW to, again, something that a lot of people wanted to turn the TV off on.
No, if you think about it, though, they went from the main event of their biggest show to the middle of a B pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That shows the...
Yep, absolutely. It's really crazy how that happened for them. Andre, who is your worst on the mic for 2024?
I'm with you, Boris. It's Chris Jericho. Man, every time you see him on TV, you want to turn it off. And I don't want to turn it off because I love Brian Keith. I've seen him wrestle on the indies. He is so entertaining. Everything Brian Keith is doing around Jericho is insanely entertaining. But Jericho is just making everything horrible. And he's just the absolute... he's the absolute worst right now. He was so good, but he's just leaning into this stupid gimmick. And even before Learning Tree, or earlier on in the year, it was still great. He was still grating at you, and you're like, please take time off. He's he disappears for a week and then comes back. I was there when he was in Edmonton. It's frustrating. It's terrible to listen to.
Exactly, and that's the thing, right? It's not even entertaining. You look back at Jericho's career, there are many times that he played a good heel, and you enjoyed it. But right now, it's just not even fun. It's not even entertaining. It's not good. It's irritating, and it honestly makes me want to shut the TV off. All right, and you know what? So Chris Jericho was actually in third place for the listener vote. In second place, we had Ricochet. And in first place, Jack Perry.
I can see that.
Yeah. Again, you're seeing trends, right? You're going to see a lot of trends, even in our picks, in the listener picks. You're seeing trends of a lot of the same people, a lot of the same gimmicks. And that's how these worst shows usually go. And again, right? We love to celebrate wrestling. We love to talk about the good. But sometimes there's stuff that just really shit. And we got to call that out too. Speaking of which, let us go to the next category, which is worst on the mic for the females. Andre, who is your pick?
Yorkie brought her up earlier. It's Nikita Lyons. Every time I hear her speak, everything she says something backstage, anything, it's just like I hate you. I hate you in every which way. I hate you, and not in the way of like I hate you. I want to see somebody beat you up. I'm like I hate you. Go away. I don't need you. You're everybody. Every single person in NXT is better than you. I don't care. You were terrible. Go away. And every time I have to hear you, this whole thing with her and Carmen and
Ashanti.
It's just it's like I'm wanting to pull the lack of hair that I have out.
You want
so
the
little hair.
follicles, God.
I'm trying to pull out the last of the hair that I have. I want to pull out every time I hear her or see her on screen and she gets involved. I'm just like, oh, and then I shift to see her wrestle, and it's like, oh, so just listening to her grades on me, and it's just ruining everything.
I hear you, man. I honestly hear you. All right, my pick for worst on the mic is Anna Jay. Anytime she cuts a promo, it just honestly seems like she's reading off, cue cards or something, and her delivery is just like, for me, it's just not believable at all. Anna Jay she's improved in the ring. Her stint in Japan really did help her. But her mic work, there's so much left to be desired with her mic work, and that's honestly, in my opinion, what's really going to hold her back from a lot in her career. Anna Jay just can't at this point. Yorkie, who is your pick for worst on the mic female?
I tell you what, if the last SmackDown was in 2024, I would have picked Nia Jax. Mm-hmm. That promo she did on SmackDown was horrendous.
Yeah.
But I am going with someone I mentioned earlier on when I say she's a good wrestler, but her thing is terrible, and that is Mercedes Moné.
Yeah.
I think she's... I don't know what it is. She just can't master the art of the promo in AEW.
Yep. It's super subjective. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are disagreeing with you right now, but it's to each their own. But here's the funny part: in second place, it was Mercedes Moné with the listener vote, and in first place with a resounding 70% is Nia Jax.
Well,
again,
after Friday, and I can understand.
Yeah, the one on Friday. Everything about that show on Friday just seemed absolutely off. You could tell that everyone was tired after Netflix's debut of Raw, and people forgot about everything else. But yeah, that was a tough one. But Nia Jax with a resounding win here, worst on the mic for 2024. All right, let us go to worst on air talent. This can be an announcer. This can be a backstage reporter. This can be anyone that you choose to be. And I'm not even going to give my pick because my pick is actually the listener pick. So we're going to start with Andre.
Peter Rosenberg. I hate him. I don't like him in any which way. And I know he's a pre-show guy, but he just makes the pre-shows that nothing seems genuine when he's speaking. Everything seems like I'm telling you exactly what they've told me to say. I am a robot programmed to tell you what to say, and none of it seems genuine. None of it seems natural. He just annoys me, and I don't like him. I just don't like Peter Rosenberg.
Yep, I hear you. He's it's funny. He just doesn't. Nothing connects with him, right? It's kind of like Sam as well. Yorkie, who's your pick for worst on-air talent?
Booker T.
Yep.
I can't be doing with. I like NXT, but sometimes I have to turn the sound off because he does my head in.
Was it me, or at New Year's Evil he was extra pompous?
Don't get me started. New Year's Eve, I was fuming. Especially the women's title match. I was just like, let Vic and Corey talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I quit after the women's 4-way. I just could not listen to Booker T anymore. And from what I heard from everybody, because I finished watching clips and I turn the audio down. Everything I heard, Booker T was just horrible, and he got worse and worse as the night went on.
Yeah, he was extra pompous. Maybe he feels threatened because Corey is there now, but he just literally for that first the women's championship match, I think Corey said 3 words, maybe 2 sentences max, legitimately.
Well, he literally said, if you would shut up, I could say something, because Booker's keeps saying, say something, Corey, and he keeps going, say something, Corey, and he says it 5 or 6 times, and then Corey's like, well, if you had shut up, I could actually say something, and it's man, for somebody for him to go off like that on the booth it's and Vic was telling him off at points too, it was nuts.
I'm surprised he's still on. I really don't understand, especially now that they do have Corey Graves, and I know Corey Graves is kind of going to be shuffling. Basically, when anyone needs time off, he's going to be there, right? But it's just so weird that Booker T is a constant thing, and he's just constantly shitty. He's just not good. He doesn't add to anything. He's more annoying than anything else, and the listeners agree with Yorkie and myself, because Booker T is the worst on-air talent, announcer, backstage reporter, anything of the like, with 65% of the vote. It is Booker T. That's a bad one, man. He's just not good. He's just not good at what he does.
Nope. No, he's terrible. He's just terrible.
Second place.
Okay.
It's Chris Jericho with 35% or something like that. This one had a lot of people, different names and stuff. But yeah, Chris Jericho was in second place here.
How is he the worst announcer? I guess he was on commentary for Rampage,
a lot, right? He did Rampage commentary.
Okay, so I qualified Jeff Cobb. I qualified Jeff Cobb as my best announcer, so I can see Jericho being worst announcer. Okay, I agree with that one. I was confused for a second.
And now we know why Rampage got cancelled.
Right.
The Judas effect.
Right. And yet they're trying to sell ROH with him as the champ. Go figure.
I forgot he was champ.
Worst non-wrestling performer can be a GM, can be a manager. God bless you, listeners. You guys killed me on this one, because this one is actually hilarious. We're going to start with Andre on this one.
Tony Khan, man. Whether he's on TV, is it the listeners? Is it the listeners too?
Listeners as well.
Because when he was on TV in the first half of this year, every time he would appear and you just see him stare, he doesn't blink, his eyes are wide, he doesn't know how to talk, and it's just you're just like, are you even human?
Yep.
And then you see him at the press conferences, he's just like, no, just yelling, and it's like, dude, shut the fuck up and just be a normal human being. It's easy to have a conversation with people. You don't I swear to God, he's perpetually on something. Something. He's perpetually on something. I'm not going to say, but he's perpetually on something.
Exactly. That is hilarious. Yorkie, what is your pick for worst non-wrestling performer?
It's the same. It's Tony Khan. It's Tony Khan. Does hugs that he I want to hug you. You're my friend.
Look. I don't want to shit on the guy too much. What he's done for wrestling in general.
I will.
Do it.
Let me say, what he's done in wrestling in general. I want to jump in here real quick. None of us want AEW to die. AEW has saved wrestling to a certain extent, but we're going to call shit a shit. And sometimes when Tony Khan appears on camera, it just doesn't work. And that's literally what this is based off, and that's what I base it off of. Anytime he's appeared on TV, it's, again, I just wanted to switch the channel. If it wasn't for me having to report it for Slam, I would probably change the channel. And that is unanimously our picks and the listener picks with 75% of the vote. It is Tony Khan as the worst non-wrestling performer.
Who didn't vote? Hold on, I want to know who didn't vote for Tony Khan.
Start reading all of their names on here right now, because you are in trouble. I know.
Okay,
I know for a fact Blaine had to have voted for Tony Khan.
Oh,
I know he did.
I know he did for
he
sure.
did.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
Okay, who was number 2?
Number 2 was Peter Rosenberg and Sam Roberts tied.
Terrible.
Funny enough.
All right, I forgive the listeners then. Yeah. Is there a worse off-air person? Not on air. I don't know what I'm on. No, shut up.
Love it. All right, we are going to jump to worst gimmick of 2024. We are going to start this time with Yorkie.
Oh, I'm gonna go with the learning. No, worst gimmick. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the learning tree.
There we go.
Yep.
Worst gimmick.
I don't need to explain why. You two have already explained everything. Why it's so shit.
Andre?
Learning tree. It was shit this year. But with an honorable mention to the Tony Storm ripoff, Ash for Elegance. That was.
I would hold on. I'm going to fight back on that one. I wouldn't say it's a Tony Storm ripoff at all. I don't like it, but it's not. I'm not going to say it's a Tony Storm ripoff at all. Having a glamorous character is not the same as whatever Tony Storm is. It's not the same at all. That is yeah. Just throwing that out there. Having said that, the listeners agree with everyone here, as do I, and that is the learning tree as the worst gimmick in 2024. And in second place, I think they're not crapping on this person, but they're crapping on how the person was used. And that's Camille as Mercedes Monet's bodyguard.
No, I feel bad for Camille because I think she's a cracker. I wish that she had come over to WWE. But she's regretting it now.
Well, here's the thing. We haven't even seen her since she quote-unquote quit. Like, are they repackaging her? Are they, like, what's going on? Like, to me, it's really weird. And the worst part is, apparently they signed her months before she even debuted, right? So it's like, it's been what, a year just about since she was signed, like, officially. Mm-hmm. So weird.
Yeah, and again, Tony Khan's just if he doesn't have anything, he's just gonna let her sit there for the next couple of years until the contract runs out. Which is I feel so bad for her because like the momentum she did have coming off of NWA. If she would have went to WWE with that, she would have been. They would have utilized her properly.
I was thinking because it was about the same time as Jade coming over to WWE that she was in the free agent match, and I was talking to Matt. And I said, do you know what I'd love? I would love Jade and Camille to both come into NXT as a tag team and just run riot on everyone down there. Can you imagine how mental that would have been?
Yep.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing. That would have been huge. That would have been huge.
Already a better booking idea than Tony Khan.
Yep. All right. So let us jump to the worst match of the year. And this one came late in the year. We talked about it, about how bad it was, and I kind of have to agree with the people on this one. So I will give the listener votes on this one right away, because it is also my vote, and that is the Women's War Game match from Survivor Series. This one won with 65% of the vote.
Really?
Yeah.
There's been worse matches than that.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. Again, I think it's recency bias. Remember, this was late November. I think a lot of people were filling in their ballot when this match happened.
Yeah, well.
Mm-hmm. Yorkie, you seem to disagree. What's your pick for worst match of the year?
Oh, Adam Cole versus MJF at World's End.
See? There you go.
Recency bias.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I'm joking.
No, it's not. No, I'm just in my head.
You just did not like this program.
No. I do not like. Right, I did not like that program. However, there is a match that is worse than this, and it's on the show that I said was the best. It's Jimmy versus Jey Uso.
You know, that's the thing, right? I'm surprised that match didn't get more votes. That match was panned back from April, May, June, July. You know, this is a This is
I think
here. I'm
because
gonna honestly say that this is a case of recency bias because that match
yeah,
ended up really low
I
with very
think
few
because
votes.
I think because obviously the Bloodline storylines got better as the years gone on. I think people have just forgotten that match happened. I literally, I was like, no, that was my worst match, and then I thought, no, I've still got MJF and not in my head. I'm like, no.
Yep.
The Usos against each other was a shower of shit, and I feel bad for them because I know they wanted to put on a better match than they did. They've admitted it was a shower of shit.
Yeah, it was not a good match. It was not a good match whatsoever. Unfortunately,
but then
it was.
And then you remember the little interaction they had in the main event of night 2, and that little bit of Jay spearing Jimmy off the stage was better than the match altogether.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's getting my vote. Even though I do like both the Usos, that match was just dribblers and shits.
Just because you like them doesn't mean that they can have a good match, right? So I'm glad that you're able to separate that, right, for the most part. But yeah, it's just Andre, what is your pick for worst match of the year?
I bet it involves the House of... Yeah,
no, it's not. It comes from North America because I decided to join my friend on this channel OLE and do Sunday watch-alongs of Major League Wrestling, where we'd watch a pay-per-view from the night before. And this one aired. It was filmed on March 29th, but aired on April 20th, and we watched it on the Sunday. War Chamber. The Calling, Ricky Shane Page, Sami Callihan, Cannonball, and Dr. Cornwallis versus the Death Fighters, Raven, Jake Christ, Jimmy Lloyd, and Akira. This match was hardcore crap, and I'm not a hardcore, but it wasn't even that. Hardcore, I can deal with hardcore, but Raven just looking old as shit, everybody just missing spots, and it all just being a giant cluster of crap is what it was. I can't even call it a clusterfuck because at least a clusterfuck can be entertaining.
Absolutely.
Raven's slowly becoming the Mickey Rourke character from The Wrestler, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now he's back in TNA. But at least he's being used as a manager-ish. Looks like it.
Mm. Yeah.
But yeah. So that's a good pick. I did, that match was just weird. I honestly couldn't even get through it, to be 100% honest on that one. So yeah, going back to the listeners, they picked the women's War Game match, and then it was the Chris Jericho versus Hook from Wrestle Dynasty 2024. See what I mean? Like to me, it's interesting. Like the Usos did get a few votes, but not enough to really make an impact on this list. So go figure. Very interesting stuff. All right, let us jump to the worst feud of the year. Yorkie's pick is clearly MJF and Adam Cole. Andre, what's your...
Hold on. You are right. I just wanted the opportunity to say it.
Yorkie, what is your pick for worst?
Oh no, it's going to be me versus you if you carry on, Boris. I'm only messing. No, it is MJF versus Adam Cole. Absolute. It's just Tony Khan's fault.
Yeah, I agree with that one. But I'm going back to Japan. It's Evil versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. This story. It was supposed to end at Wrestle Kingdom this year, and it was just a terrible story throughout the entire year with the Evil constantly attacking Hiroshi Tanahashi and declaring himself the president of New Japan, which he's not. And it was supposed to end at Wrestle Kingdom this year, and Tanahashi won, and it's still going. I am so past done with this. I'm going forward when that match comes up. I'm going to read who won, and I'm not actually going to review those matches because I'm done with Tanahashi versus House of Torture. I'm done.
Do you know why? That feud's still going on?
Because that's the retirement match, baby.
Because Tony Khan booked it.
Oh my god.
Well, Tony Khan's money booked it. I know that for sure.
Oh my god. All right.
What was yours, Boris?
Yeah, my pick for feud of the year isn't even a real wrestling feud, but this is the one that's always made me laugh, and I need to call it out at some point in the show, and that's the tribalism and WWE fans versus AEW fans. Come on, people. We all watch wrestling. You're allowed to not like stuff, But my favorite part is I find the people that complain and hate things, it's like they hate watch, right? Like, don't watch it. If it bothers you, don't fucking watch it.
That's what I did this past year, because I've not watched any NWA because I don't like the product. So
That's the thing. You're allowed to not like a product and not watch it.
The thing is, there was no one in NWA that was like, I want to watch it for this person. I'm not a big fan of AEW at the moment, but there are several wrestlers in there that I do like. I love FTR. They're one of the best tag teams in the world. I love some other people. I just can't think of the top of my head right now because I'm still angry with you, Boris. They're missing me out.
Oh my God, feud of 2025, Yorkie and Boris.
I love it. No, I get it, man. It's yeah. Honestly, your life and your wrestling viewing experience will be so much better if you just watch what you like and you don't watch what you don't like. You don't have to watch. And worst off, don't shit on stuff. I understand that. Look, criticism and it's fine, right? I totally agree, and it happens. You know, we love to do that, but there comes a point where you just gotta really evaluate what you're watching. Say, you know what, I'm done. I can't anymore, and I won't watch this anymore. And I wish some more people would take your approach, Yorkie, to just not watching stuff when you don't like it. But honestly, the tribalism stuff, it just bothers me so much. I'm glad that, you know, we do have some negative posters. We have some negative Nancys. You know, every board does. But for the most part, I do appreciate that the tribalism stuff isn't really there on A+ Wrestling. So thank you for that. And what I'm talking about is our Facebook group where that you can find, facebook.com, and search for A+ Productions. All right.
And I'll even give it to the person on board. Even when they're negative about stuff, most of them, when they're negative, do give reasons for being negative. So I got to give credit to that. At least they give the reasons for why they're hating on something, and I'll give them credit for that.
Yep.
I just wish to post more about what they do like rather than what they don't like.
Exactly. That's kind of the thing, right? It's like, okay, you don't like XYZ, but say what you do like ABC, because clearly you do like stuff, and that's what I mean, right? Like sometimes it's people just focus on the negative, but obviously there's so much that people do like, or else I would hope that they don't watch it. But again, the tribalism stuff just needs to end. Worst feud of the year for the listeners, they agree with Yorkie. They agree with a lot of people, and that is MJF and Adam Cole in this one with 50% of the votes. The Death Riders versus AEW was second place with 35%.
I think that Death Riders one's still early into it. I mean, it's shit, but it's still early into the year. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I might be mentioning it for next year, depending on.
It's already on my list for next year.
Absolutely.
Take something strong to knock it off.
I don't know MJF and Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one's. You know what? I'm gonna see where that goes. I'm gonna see where that one goes.
We've got 12 months.
Exactly.
Yeah, we do.
But that's the thing, Yorkie. We've got 12 months.
Yeah, no. Where's feud? I'll just bring out a whole list. The list of AEW.
Exactly. We are jumping to the worst angle of 2024, and this can be a one-off or a recurring thing. Let us start with Andre.
I'm going back to MLW. Selena De La Renta's baby, and the reveal of Cesar Ron being her father. And then she was pregnant, and then there was a big reveal for the baby daddy, and it was random bodyguard number 2 of Cesar Duran's, and then it happened, and that was it. And it's like, because she's pregnant in real life, but they wrote it in, but they just gave us the worst payout I've ever seen in my life to any storyline ever, and I'm just like, oh, it was random bodyguard number 2. And nobody knew who he was. There was not like it was revealed because they all wore masks. And he pulled it off, and it's just like, that's nobody. And it was just like, it wasn't even revealed to be one of the wrestlers as a bodyguard or something. I hated it so much.
Yeah.
Just be thankful it wasn't. Just be thankful you didn't pull the mask off and it was Cesar Duran.
Oh, that would have been even worse.
Honestly, MLW.
Vince would have loved it though.
2020. Yeah. MLW 2024 was just, they struggled, man. And it's again, going back to what I was saying, I'm just not watching much. If I hear something good, I'll watch it, but I'm not going to go out of my way right now to watch MLW.
And because I was having such a poor time with it after, like, because I was very much enjoying Kojima early in the year, then he started beating guys he shouldn't have, the people he should have been dropping the world title to. I just turned it off, and I've gone back and watched select matches since, because I want to see a Kenta match, I want to see a TGP match or something.
Apparently, last night's show was great.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. But like since the summer, I've just been watching select matches on the company because it just lost me in the summer. I was just like, once he beat Mads Kruger, I was like, I'm good. I don't need to watch this anymore.
Yep. Yorkie, what is your worst angle for 2024?
When you say angle, I'm going to talk about a singular moment in a match.
It can be a one-off or recurring. It can be anything.
It's just a singular moment that happened in a match that I don't think needed to happen. I think they did it because it was going to get talked about.
Mm-hmm.
It's the syringe into during the Adam Page Swerve Strickland match. The syringe in the match. No, I'm not good with needles as it is. So seeing that, I thought it was a bit over the top.
Yep, I can see that. For sure. That did get a couple votes, to be honest. I'm looking through like the raw data, and that did get a couple votes.
I was close to saying the plastic bag gimmick, but
that was pretty bad too.
But the syringe was a bit no for me.
Yep. For me, it was just the absolute 180 that they ended up doing with Adam Cole and MJF, and it's Adam Cole's unexplained random face turn. We do remember that he was the devil. We do remember that this is the guy that assaulted everyone under the sun for months and months and months, and then all of a sudden he's a face when he comes back, and you're trying to sell us that this makes sense. No one's ever tried to explain this to us.
I watched the promo, and it was there just before World End. He's just goading MJF to say, "You were going to turn on me. That's why I turned on you first." That's the explanation: is you were going to turn on me, so I turned heel and turned on you first. Like
this huge plan for months and months and months and months and months and months, and because you were going to do it first, like it just. No, it's terrible. That's not an explanation. That's the explanation they gave, but that is not an explanation. Yep,
like that.
Yeah, to me, it's inexplicably just dumb, and that's I needed to call that one out. So the worst angle can be a one-off or recurring theme in pro wrestling, according to the listeners. In third place, Nia Jax's title reign. In second place, Adam Cole's face turn. And in first place, and I'm surprised that this wasn't anyone else's pick, that was AEW airing the All-In footage.
That was bad.
That helped. You know who that helped? CM Punk.
That'll be featured later on.
There you go.
I'm glad to hear that.
All right, let us jump to the next category as we keep just mowing along. We are almost done, and this one is they really dropped the ball on. It had huge potential, but just didn't happen. I'm going to go first, and I already called this one out, and I need to call it out again. That is Camille in AEW. So far, they have absolutely dropped the ball on Camille in AEW. This one I just don't understand how you can take literally the hottest female free agent and do literally nothing with her for months on end, and then they revert her back to her original NWA character with Mercedes Moné and make her a bimbo, and she quits, and that is it. That's like she's literally appeared 3 months out of the year, maybe.
Yeah, it just bad. Just bad.
So that's my vote. They really dropped the ball on Camille's AEW run. Yorkie, what is your pick for they really dropped the ball on?
Ask me as a Jeopardy question.
What? Say it again.
Ask me that as a Jeopardy question. The category is people that drop ball on. Who is Ricky Stark? Who is Miro? Who is Wardlow? Shall I carry on?
Right. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. And I'm trying to think of the counter just because I know people are going to think that we're shitting on AEW, but the reality is that, well,
I am.
They dropped the they dropped the ball on these people. They dropped the ball on, like, Wardlow. Well, so the inexplicable he disappears, and the whole Adam Cole thing, everyone's supposed to just forget about it. Like, remember, he was a part of the kingdom.
And then he just disappeared.
He just disappears.
Miro,
who knows what he's up to?
And then Ricky Stark, just because he was one of CM Punk's boys. We all know he might say no, he's not. It's not because of that. We all know it is.
I thought he was a Cody guy.
Yeah, but obviously it was a CM Punk boy as well. That's why he was on Collision.
Yeah, true. Well, I'm gonna say mine because this made both myself and I know this was Mel's pick for this same one. It's over in Stardom. In the summer, right before the 5-Star Grand Prix started, Natsuko Tora beat Micah for the World of Stardom Championship, reforming the Oedo Tai faction as Hate, going in a much darker direction for the faction, and they did a good job creating the faction. Her first title defense, which was right after the 5-Star Grand Prix against Tam Nakano, who lost every single match she had in the 5-Star Grand Prix this year, came out with 0 points, and they gave her a title shot at the 5-Star Grand Prix finals. And she beats Natsuko Tora, who has been on a monster run at this point since winning the title. Every show she's doing, she's been mowing through people, tearing them down, and then she faces Tam, who hasn't won an entire tournament, and drops the belt to her. That Natsuko Tora is what they dropped the ball on for me this year.
I can understand the booking of it. I can understand. Don't get me wrong. I can understand the booking. Mm-hmm. In my head, I'm like, the champ thought, right, well, I'll give Tam Nakano a shot, thinking it's going to be a walkover because she won the zero thingies, and then she got underestimated. That's the only thing I don't think. I don't watch Stardom, so I can't. Yeah,
but again, just the story of it just made 0 sense for her to actually drop the title to Tam, who's been on a losing streak for so long at that point.
Was there any follow-up afterwards?
No, Tora just went to the back of the line. And the thing is, it didn't even follow it up. That's the other issue. They didn't even give Tora another crack to go after the title. Tam just moved on to other people. And I was like, what? The title's back with Hate now because Kamitani claimed it at the end of the year. But it just makes me mad.
Yep. I can see that. 100%. Yorkie.
I've already said mine.
Oh, yeah, you did. My bad.
It's time for the fans.
Yeah, it's time for the fans. All right, they really dropped the ball. We are going to start third place, Chad Gable and Otis. A lot of people added comments, which makes the math really hard to math. And essentially, a lot of people were saying that this should have been a bigger deal. So that's number 3. Number 2... well, this is a funny one now, and that is Tiffany Stratton's Money in the Bank 2024. Just remember, she just won in 2025. And number 1 is Ricky Starks.
Called it.
Yep.
I just wish Tony would just say, look, I mean, obviously the norm for WWE is to say, look, we'll release you from your contract. There's a 90-day no-compete, so you can't compete for 3 months. However, Tony can put a different clause in, couldn't he? Because it is a different company. You don't have to follow the norm. If he wants to let people go, he could say, look, I'm releasing you, but there's a 365-day no-compete. You can't wrestle for a year for another company.
He did that to Regal.
No, I think he did that as a favor for Regal.
But I'm saying, but Regal couldn't appear on TV for a year.
Yeah, but I don't think
but that's also due to I think he had another year on his deal, so he said you can't. Yeah, but he could have done that for Starks too, and say you can go wrestle in GCW, you can go wrestle in any of the indies you want. You just can't go to TNA, you can't go to WWE, like that.
Well, the fact that he's that petty that he has to, no, I don't like it. You're going to go right into the opposition. Yeah.
Dude, we know how petty he is. He got a New Japan commentator suspended for 2 months.
Yeah.
For hurting his feelings. We know he's a petty little man. Come on.
Petty little bitch is what you wanted to say.
I should have. Yeah, petty little bitch.
Right. All right. There were some votes. In fourth place is actually on the list for most overrated, so I won't even touch that one. I mentioned it. I kind of previewed it, and if you remember, I dropped some hints last time on the best. And this one I agree with and I don't agree with all at the same time. But before we get to the listener votes, we are going to get to our individual ones. Most overrated. This can be performer, stipulation, etc., etc., etc. We're going to start with Andre on this one.
DMD. I'm sorry. She returned this year and just looked like a bag of crap. Everything she did this year, I do not know what's going on, and she was still over as hell. I don't understand why people like her, because she can't. Her promos that she cut this year were trash. Her in-ring was trash. Again, I hope she rebounds in 2025, but Britt Baker's my most overrated this year, because I just didn't understand why people liked her this year. Again, nothing she did hit for me. Nothing at all.
I can see that. And she's kind of just gone again. She hasn't really done much.
Yeah.
There you go. Yorkie, most overrated, performer, stipulation, etc.
Ooh. CEO. CEO. I hear that theme music one more time. It does my fucking head in.
Get ready for Wednesday.
Oh my god!
I don't watch it. The thing is, because it's not aired live over here.
So you're lucky.
I'll get ready for Friday.
just have it recorded and just skip. Just fast forward through. Yeah, you just fast forward through. That's all you gotta do. So if you don't like it,
the thing is, She believes far too much of her own hype from when she was in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had some. She thinks she could be bigger than John Cena, and I'm like,
she thinks she is, but that's
a
whole other thing. All right.
The thing is, sorry, I'll shut up.
No. You can finish. Go ahead.
No, I just think when she was in WWE, she had the other horsewomen surrounding her.
Mm-hmm.
Helping her, elevating her.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to AEW. She thinks she's the fucking dog's bollocks, and she hasn't got that support. She hasn't got what she thinks is that'll elevate her. And I think she's found someone now with Statlander, but that's about it. There's no one else. They tried with everyone else, and it just didn't work.
That's the thing, right? Like, her best 2 matches has been with the same person. That to me, that says something. But that's that.
Again, and outside of AEW, she's had some fire matches. Like when she worked on the New Japan events stuff, she's had some great matches. Momo Watanabe was great. Hazuki was amazing. That was my match of the year.
Vaquera at Forbidden Door.
Vaquera at Forbidden Door. She's had some great matches out, like when she's been working New Japan people and Stardom people, but it's something just not clicking for her in AEW. I don't know what it is. She finally hit it with Statlander. Don't get me wrong, but just something wasn't clicking at all this year. That's where I put in Britt Baker. It's just that there's just a failure, and Britt Baker was just as much to blame in that too.
My most overrated is the entire EVP gimmick. I just don't like it. I don't care for it. I think that it got way too much TV time, even though these guys barely appeared. I just don't buy the hype, and it scares me that is most likely going to turn into the big feud as we head into their War Games match, whatever, Blood and Guts with the Elite taking on the Death Riders. I really hope that's not the case, but it really looks like it could be. AEW didn't need that whole EVP stuff, and for it just to abruptly end, just was kind of dumb.
Are they going to try and turn the Elite face?
I feel
that's a feeling.
That will happen. You can't.
I hope not.
I hope not.
They're far too. Jack Perry's far too disliked for that to happen.
I don't think Jack Perry will be a part of them. It'll be Omega and the Bucks.
God no.
Yeah, the OG Elite. Yeah,
I think Omega and Okada are going to be feuding a lot this year.
Here's the thing with that. I hope that they actually do have a legitimate feud, and it's not just a random match that they're going to plan for their biggest show of the year in Texas, in a stadium, and they don't even cross paths. Like, I hope there's a reason for them to fight.
Yeah, but you were forgetting who's running AEW.
That's the thing, right?
It's going to get to a week before All In, and then Carter's going to say, Kenny Omega.
Yep. All right, let us go to the listeners' picks for most overrated. Number 1 was Mercedes Moné. Again, remember 2024. She did not have a great 2024. She did not have a great start to her AEW run. So I do agree with the listener picks on this one. Mercedes Moné won with 55% of the vote. And here is number 2. And it might surprise some. It might not. That's the Wyatt Six.
I still think it's teething.
Yep. It's still early. It's still early for them. Yeah. I know they've been around for a while, but they're kind. But
that promo. No, I'm sorry. Obviously it's still early doors. I think people are just sitting on it because it was Bray Wyatt thing.
Yeah.
And Bray Wyatt, fair enough, he was good at promos, but it became mumbo jumbo bollocks. But the Wyatts haven't done anything wrong, I don't think.
They've done what they're supposed to, right?
Yeah.
So I
still think Rowan had one of the best promo things in that whole video thing. If you didn't cry during that, you're not human.
Exactly. There you go. So that is the most overrated. We are jumping to the worst event or pay-per-view. Wrestling only, no MMA. We're going to start this time with Andre.
War Chamber 2 on April 20th. The second War Chamber event this year that I watched that featured the War Chamber match, and the rest of the card was not good, but that War Chamber just ruined it for me. It just made me hate. Like, I watch AEW pay-per-views for the most part. They're all very good. I can't pick an AEW pay-per-view. WWE has had stellar pay-per-views all year long. And New Japan, for me, has been great big shows. Same with Stardom. This was the worst show I watched this year. Was War Chamber 2 on April 20th.
Yep, I agree with that one. It's not my pick, but I agree with that one. Yorkie, what is your worst pay-per-view of 2024?
I don't have one.
That's fair.
I can't say. So I pretty much only watch AEW and WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And while tonight I have been shitting over AEW so much, they are stellar when it comes to the pay-per-view game.
Mm-hmm.
And WWE's pay-per-view game has been top-notch this year. So I can't say that was shit or that was shit. You know what I mean? So I'm going to abstain from this one.
That's fine. This one took me a while. And I'll be honest, I saw the listener picks, and I'm like, okay, I agree with that one. And even then, I don't think so much it's the pay-per-view, the show itself. It's everything around it, and that's Crown Jewel.
See, I didn't watch it. I don't watch the Saudi show, so I can't even say it.
There you go. Right? And I think, honestly, this one with 80% of the votes. I don't think a lot of people who voted watched it, or if they did, they just voted for it because of the Saudi presence around it. Yeah.
But it's like what we said earlier. If you don't like something, don't watch it. I've not watched a single Saudi show since the deal. I'm like, you can do your deal. You can have your shows up, have your shows over there. But I just won't watch it.
You don't have to watch it.
And it pisses me off because my favorite show of the year is Royal Rumble,
I know.
and I won't be watching it next year.
I know. It's gonna be.
Sad.
Oh man, yeah. The 2026 awards will be very interesting because I know as a fact that it'll be Royal Rumble as the worst, and I know a lot of people are not going to watch it. It hurts me. It hurts me a lot. It really does pain me because you are right. It is my favorite show of the year overall. But worst pay-per-view goes to Crown Jewel. High percentage of the votes on that one in second place with only... Actually, I didn't even do the math on this one, and it was AEW All Out, which is interesting because AEW, for the most part, has very good pay-per-views. But again, I think this category is an interesting category for a lot of our listeners. I know a lot of our listeners only watch WWE and AEW, so there's some bias in that, right? I'm sure I can pick out a lot of TNA pay-per-views that were worse.
Can I just ask Andre something?
Sure.
If you were to pick a worst show from the Japanese shows.
Oh, jeez. I'm trying to think. Thing is that like all the shows do something for me. That's the thing. Like it's I don't. There wasn't a lot. Again, what I don't. Well, if there's a show I don't want to see, I don't watch it. Like Crown Jewel. But like for me, everything delivered on every show. There wasn't a bad show overall because maybe
how about if I rephrase it?
Oh no, I know there was a New Japan event in Shanghai, and it was either in Shanghai or in China or in Thailand. I can't remember, where it was a bunch of 6-man tag matches to lead a mini tournament for the 6-man titles, and that show was kind of just blah. So I would say that one. It happened like in around like May, June. That probably is my worst show from them because it was just a boring ass 6-man mini tournament. It was pretty blah.
I would honestly add any of the Road 2s for the most part. The Road to Tokyo Dome was good, but for the most part, the Road 2s are just very generic, a lot of the same stuff with variation, and it's to be expected. But because New Japan doesn't have a regular schedule, per se, it's hard to really pinpoint, right?
Yeah, because I also look at those as more like a WWE Raw, or W SmackDown. So I kind of don't put them in the same point as like I would put their big shows as in the same point as a pay per view. Now, when we get to worst TV show, that's where I'll put Road 2s in. Don't worry.
There were some bad ones this year. They're like New Japan struggled this year, man. New Japan struggled. In fact, they struggled so much. I have a friend. She's mainly watched WWE. She's huge into AEW, and she was kind of asking and started watching a lot of New Japan. But she's like, I want to watch more. So I kind of pushed her to, Noah and DDT and the Wrestle Universe subscription. And so this was Friday.
Yeah.
Now she's like, I'm hooked.
Yeah, honestly, and like if you want to get into it, for anybody listening, like me and Mel are going to start covering Noah this year. We've had a hell of a weird last week or two where we're finally going to get the shows covered. We're going to get it out this week. Wrestle Universe is the best bang for your buck. It is the same price as it's slightly cheaper than New Japan World, which you only get in New Japan. You get 8 different promotions on Wrestle Universe for the same price you pay for New Japan World. You get DDT, Noah, Mari Gold, Sendai Girls, 0-1, and then 3 other promotions I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's so much there and so much great wrestling in there. And Mari Gold on their big specials have Noah's commentary team doing English commentary for it. And Noah has their English commentary team. So, like, you get great stuff. And if you just want to watch other random Japanese stuff in Japanese, it's great. Like, it's so much fun. Yeah, like I've been really enjoying Wrestle Universe these last couple of months because again, it's been such great wrestling.
Yeah, and it's only $9.99, I think. Like $11 like Canadian. It's 999 yen.
Yeah, well, no, it's actually 1,250 yen now, so it's around $12 to $13 depending on where the dollar is at at least in Canadian. Yeah. So, but it's 1,250 yen. So yeah, probably around $10 American. If you're an American listener, but around $12.50 to $13 Canadian. But it's still worth it for 8 different promotions. And even if you only watch 3 of them, it's still the best bang for your buck if you're for an over-the-top service.
Yep, I agree. Agreed. Really good stuff. Go watch again. Even in Japan, similar to North America, there's just so many options. New Japan isn't the only one out there.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that.
Yeah.
Because I know some people who don't want to watch New Japan anymore because of the AEW connection. And especially after last weekend's Wrestle Dynasty show, a lot of people just feel like AEW controls too much of what's going on in New Japan. That's a debate to have for another day.
Yeah, we'll have confirmation later.
My first foray into the world of Japanese wrestling was DDT.
There you go.
Great.
It was years ago. I used to love watching Chikara.
Yeah.
I used to love watching that too.
And they have a tournament every year called King of Trios, and they had a team DDT in there. And I watched it, and I'm like, "Ooh, that's quite. They're quite good. I might check them out."
Yeah.
And that's where I discovered Pac of all people. I didn't realize.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's where he was like the king of DDT.
Yep.
DDT has everything for everybody. There's comedy, there's serious graps, there's like great technical. There's great guys like you see like an Osprey and an Omega. You see those level of matches there.
Shingo, that's where Shingo came from, isn't it?
No, he's Dragon Gate.
No,
Shingo was Dragon Gate. Yeah.
Dragon
no,
Gate.
that's not DDT. Yeah, Dragon Gate. Not
Dragon Gate.
But like they also do hardcore. There's like DDT does everything, and they do everything very well. It just doesn't get a lot of play.
Here's the thing about DDT. What you see on the mainstream with DDT is all their stupid stuff.
Bullet Train.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you see DDT. No, so I know a lot of people who don't want to watch DDT because that's what they think it is.
I remember. No, do you know what? I know what DDT. Sorry, I do apologize. It was Dragon Gate that I got confused.
Yeah, all good.
But I do know DDT from their 24/7 championship type thing where I remember
the Iron Metal Heavyweight Championship or something. Yeah, but Joey Ryan brought it over here,
and Colt Cabana as well.
Yeah, Colt Cabana and Joey Ryan really were the run. And I don't like saying Joey Ryan's name, but he's the one that brought that title and kind of brought it to prominence over here. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Anyway,
let us.
Thank you to my sponsors of Wrestle Universe.
Wrestle Universe. Wrestle-Universe.com. I highly recommend go and check it out. Look up Chris Brooks in DDT. He is and I don't like saying
Chris
it.
Brooks, the Australian guy.
Yeah, he's another. He is as me and Mel joked
over here.
As we joked, he's the Wish version of Zack Sabre Jr. But he's a good thing you get from Wish. He's not quite Zack Sabre Jr., but he's the next step down from Zack Sabre Jr.
He was big over here because he's done a lot of stuff with Progress and Red Pro.
Yeah, highly recommend Chris Brooks. But yeah, let's move on.
Worst promotion of 2024, Andre.
Right.
You're just going to say it.
I'm saying AEW.
There we go.
I know Andre's going to say MLW.
No, I'm saying AEW because
AEW.
I stopped watching AEW's weekly TV this year. So if a company literally makes me turn off their weekly TV that I've been watching since 2019, and I stopped caring, I still tune in for pay-per-views because the pay-per-views. I feel like the pay-per-views exist outside of AEW's person because they are their own monster for somehow. I turned it off and stopped caring about every storyline in this company. It's AEW for me.
You sound like a WWE fan circa 2019. Like it's, I don't watch weekly TV. Listen, I don't watch weekly TV, but I do watch pay-per-views. A lot of people were on that boat, with WWE. I will also go with AEW. And again, it's because I just fallen so far off the train. It's hard. It is really hard for me to get into it. Having said that, they have had stellar pay-per-views, but as a whole, AEW is the worst promotion for all of us, including the listeners, with 66% of the votes coming for AEW. Funny enough, 20% is for ROH.
Well, so Tony Khan got 86% of the Tony Khan got 86% of the hate this year.
Yep. TNA is in third.
That I don't like that. I think TNA have had a decent year.
I think
They've
people
had
just
a
say
hard
TNA
year.
because of but I think people say TNA because it's just
It's there.
It's there. They can be like, oh, I hate TNA. I don't watch it. I hate that company.
But
So
realistically, similar to New Japan's struggle, but New Japan has other struggles. But they've lost a lot of talent. They not lost. They got rid of Scott D'Amore. Let me be honest. Like they got rid of Scott D'Amore. That really hurt them.
Anthem did, not TNA.
Anthem, yeah, right. Like
same.
But we don't talk about them.
It's been hard, but we'll see. Let us jump to the worst TV show that features in-ring wrestling. My pick is AEW Rampage. I just could not watch this show this year at all. I tried. I honest to God tried. Never live, but I tried. But it just felt like a B show. Like even the quality felt off. The sound mixing, the everything just felt off on AEW Rampage this year. It's just like it really felt like they put interns to edit it for Fridays. Like it just did not feel like an AEW show that AEW gave a shit about.
Yeah.
No more words need to be said. I think I agree. Do you agree?
I agree, but I also I'm doing this like I did my best of male. I have a Japanese and an American. My American is AEW Rampage, just like you guys, because I turned it off. I turned it off earlier than every other show on their network that they put out this year because it was just bad. But I have to set the New Japan Road 2 shows where it didn't involve a title match on the show. Because some do have title matches in them, right? But it's only one or two of the matches. The ones that were all multi-man tags, that my worst TV show for New Japan because I was just like, God. I skipped most of them. If it's just all multi-man tags, unless I hear something that came out of a big match, like something big happened, I didn't watch any ones that were just pure multi-man tags because it just had no interest to watch all these guys who do the same match for 4 days in a row.
And that's the thing. Oftentimes it is the same match. Like it's really painful to watch. And I kind of feel like they really need to evaluate that because, here we are paying for this on their subscription service. And I kind of feel like they forget that some people do watch every show.
Mm-hmm. And it's because, again, it's their house shows. Again, if this was over here, if this was in WWE's world, we wouldn't see any of the Road 2 shows because those are house shows. I can understand and again, a couple of years ago, they had a much better point of they would put out some of the Road 2 shows, but not all of them. They would put out the Road 2 shows that had a title match on them, things like that. But the ones that were just pure multi-man tags, a lot of those never made it to air. And honestly, that there was so much less content to watch from them because of that, and I was okay with that. But now they put out almost every single show, and it's like, wow, there's no point. Like, why are you wasting the time to bring your camera crew with you? Bring your camera crew, but you can just do maybe one or two cameras. Don't have to do the full setup and do what WWE does, and just get some. And just then you have the footage if something for some reason happened.
Well, don't you remember even on some of the bigger Road 2 shows, you would only get the hard cam view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, but they've moved away from that, and again, that costs you money. So but that's one of the reasons I truly believe Tony Khan has put money into New Japan.
Yeah.
Well, obviously he'll have had to when he's basically, I don't want to say the R word, but harvested their talent, so to speak.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Without any real questioning of it, right? Like you tell me that your roster gets depleted and you're not going to say something, regardless of what that relationship is, outside of what Andre you said, you're gonna say something. You're gonna protect your talent a little more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
there's money involved in there.
Worst TV show. Go ahead. What do you think, Yorkie?
No, I was gonna say I think AEW and New Japan is a relationship that needs to cease.
I agree, 100%. Please, God, let that end.
I've been saying it's funny. I said that. I remember saying that in a previous iteration of this show, and people jumped on me saying that I'm insane. But I never saw any good coming from this relationship. It never, outside of a financial benefit that we don't know about, it never benefited New Japan ever. You can say did it bring eyes to New Japan? Not really.
Look at Wrestle Dynasty. There was loads of talent that was nixed because Tony Khan didn't like the way the AEW talent were booked. And I'm like, you've done it with Forbidden Door. Let them do this with Wrestle Dynasty.
Yeah. We did not get the cream of the crop come over for that show. It's as simple as that.
Well, you got Kenny Omega. That's about it.
Yeah, but again, that was Kenny Omega, and then the rest of them are mid carders. I'm sorry, Ricochet is a mid carder at best. As of right now, he is a mid carder at best, and Claudio mid carder. Like,
don't get me wrong, fantastic in the ring.
The Bucks are mid carders. I'm sorry, the Bucks are mid carders at the moment. Like the entirety of what they sent over were mid carders outside of Athena and Willow, because those two are higher end, in my opinion.
Even then, Athena
should have gone over that.
Yeah, I know. She leads that company. She's the only reason that company is. I want to tune into that company. She's the only reason.
Absolutely.
Her and Billy. But
yeah. Worst TV show that features in-ring action, according to the listeners. In first place with 60% of the vote is AEW Rampage. In second place with 25% of the vote is AEW Dynamite.
What's Collision in on there?
It's not. Well, there's a few votes. Not substantial enough. But Rampage number one.
The thing is, Rampage just turned into AEW's version of Sunday Night Heat, didn't it?
Oh, big time. Really fast. Really fast.
So, tell me I'm wrong, but after Punk left.
Oh, a lot of things went that way after Punk left.
Even Collision's going that way.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly?
Oh, my God. Somebody sent me a video of last night's Collision. Oh, that Jericho match. Oh, the ending of that Jericho match. Oh,
I haven't even seen anything yet, but I've heard stuff. All right. Worst supporting media. This could be book, digital series, WWE Network show, podcast, what have you. God bless you, listeners. I really do love you, listeners, and thank you so much for the support that you did give
I know what this is.
A+ Wrestling throughout 2024. Worst supporting media can be anything. My pick is the Mr. McMahon documentary. This, honestly, I don't know what I was expecting. Having said that, I did watch this between surgeries, so I'm not sure if I got the full experience of this, but I think I got enough of it. It was partial fluff and then partial, we're going to try to make controversy out of, well, it's weird because they had it there, but I just feel like they didn't want to dig too deep into it. I know that a lot of the stuff broke as they were filming, and once everything broke, no one wanted to do interviews anymore and continue with it. But I feel like this could have been better at the end of the day. So Mr. McMahon Netflix series is my pick for the worst supporting media. Andre, what's yours?
Oh, it's Netflix's Mr. McMahon. It was just brutal because like when they did the Shane and Vince thing and Shane saying you got to kill me, I'm like, I don't believe they ever said that to each other. I don't care. That's something you wrote for this. You both agreed to say it in the documentary, and if you listen at points, Paul is literally feeding Heyman Paul is feeding McMahon lines during this thing and giving him information. I don't believe a single word that came out of Vince McMahon's mouth in this entire documentary. Like, I just don't. Maybe his early life stuff that he talked about in the first episode, but that's about it. Once he started talking about working in the business, unless it was verified stuff, I was like, no.
They continued with the narrative that WrestleMania was make or break for the company. You kind of knew where this was going. This is just a rehash of a lot of the WWE history of the wrestling industry and the wrestling business, right? Like, let's remember that WrestleMania, yes, it was a huge deal, and if it didn't do well, it would have hurt them, but it wasn't a make or break deal per se.
No. Yeah.
Yorkie?
I can't say the McMahon documentary because I've not watched it.
There you go.
I want to watch it.
What made me embarrassed to be a wrestling fan is because I had to explain my fandom to people as Vince McMahon was being as he got hit the Janelle Grant accusations of everything she accused him of. I had to now defend being a wrestling fan. I'm like, to people. I'm like, it's not just he is not the reason I'm a wrestling fan. You're right. He created a lot for everybody, but like, just because he did something backstage doesn't mean I can't be a wrestling fan. And that made me embarrassed to be a fan because I had to now explain myself of why I'm a fan of it with the shit he has done, and that embarrassed me.
Yeah, that's my pick as well. It's a hard one, right? It's like it really does make you question your entire fandom, and for that to happen, it needs to be major, and this is major. It's like, how can you continue to support like this industry sometimes, right? Like it was hard. It was a hard one. It was a hard pill to swallow as a fan of this, and like there were times where it's just like, do I really want to continue with this route? Like, is this really something that I give a shit about? You know?
I thank God for you earlier in the year reporting on the news, and John and Wei from Post and Brandon Thurston for getting in there and getting as many of the proper details as possible out there for people to talk about, and not just the overarching. This is the one going in depth and getting the right information out that did get kind of pushed to the side in a lot of the narrative early on. I appreciate all the wrestling shows that have gone in and done the work to really get the information out properly, but it still just made me embarrassed to be a fan because I have people knowing that I'm a fan going, well, what the hell? Why do you like this stuff? I'm like, and it's just like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely. Yorkie?
My moment that I got embarrassed to be a wrestling fan is also the whole Vince McMahon Janelle Grant thing.
It's hard, man. It's like, again, it's a hard pill to swallow. Like, it really is. And I think we've only seen the tip of the iceberg with all of this, right? And what pissed me off even more is this past weekend when Vince McMahon got settled with the SEC, and he's making it seem like everything is done and over with, trying to get, the base to forget about the fact that he still has a major lawsuit in his hands that could turn into a major federal investigation.
And again, because the SEC investigation is over.
It's about the business. It has
about
nothing
the business.
to do.
What he's investigating into the McMahon allegations with Janelle Grant that have come from the Southern District of New York's investigation is not from Ann Callis came out and said it that the investigation wasn't over.
Exactly.
She said it in her release statement this weekend. So.
And that's the important thing to remember, right? It is far from done. The only thing that has been settled is with the SEC, and the SEC is like, and my favorite part about all of that was that they're not releasing their findings, right? And there's no admission of guilt. There's no admission of anything. It's just like, look, you fucked up, and you have to pay back money. But that's on the business end of stuff. Now, it's. Yeah, there's still so much to go, and I really do feel like we've only hit the tip of the iceberg. Like, it's just. Can I
also add something else? I do think the booking of AEW is embarrassing. I know
that's Tony Khan. I can see that.
I know it's not as bad as the whole Vince and Janelle thing, but I do think
it's hard to defend
some more.
It's hard to defend some of the AEW weekly TV just as a fan. That's part of the reason I turned off watching weekly TV with AEW, because I was just like, I was like, I was embarrassed for myself. Why am I watching this?
Sometimes I just think Tony Khan sits down thinking, I backed the wrong horse.
Look, the AEW does some stuff good, but
what
they do good, they do good. But what they do bad, they do bad.
Storytelling, simple.
Yeah. Pay-per-view.
No, but the thing is, but I mean, how many times have you seen a really good storyline just fall off a cliff like that? I could name you so many examples. All right, Wardlow's big push when he split from MJF. Fantastic storytelling, and then after the big payoff, there's no follow-up. Gone. Adam Page's world title when he was chasing the title against Kenny Omega, the story going into it, fantastic. Was there any payoff afterwards? No. Any follow-up? Nothing. Mira's Redeemer storyline, really good. And then he got injured when he came back. Any follow-up to it? No.
House of Black as a whole.
Yeah.
They're pushing, then they've gone away. It's yeah. There's a lot to be embarrassed about in professional wrestling.
I just wish there was some semblance of consistency with the booking.
That's what it comes down to.
Follow up.
Absolutely great. And again, let us go back to how we started this show and saying that, there is good and there is bad. And as much as I want to call out only the good, we should call out the bad because, well, maybe so that way someone will get shit right in 2025. But again, let us talk quickly before we end things. It's just talk about the fact that, look, 2024 might have been my favorite year as a wrestling fan. Like, there was just so much good in terms of matches, pay-per-views, even live events that I've attended. Just so much good in the professional wrestling world that we're just lucky. We're just lucky. We're so lucky. It's a hell of a time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of great. Again, speaking from the rest of the world side and talking about Japanese professional wrestling, like New Japan is rebuilding, but there is many other companies out there. Stardom's doing great work. Mari Gold's on the rise. Pro Wrestling Noah's doing amazing stuff. DDT's just killing it in just the weirdest possible ways. So there's lots of great wrestling out there for you. Again, if you're not finding your thing in one place, just turn it off and go try another one. Simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning in. I know that there's a lot of people's favorite show of the year, and again, we will continue this tradition. Like I said at the top of the show, as much as we want to just talk about the good, there is so much bad to talk about as well. And that is what this show does. And again, huge thanks to everyone who is part of A Plus Productions and A Plus Wrestling, including Yorkie, Andre, Melball, Dax, and of course Matt. Thank you guys so much. We are going to be coming back very strong here in 2025. So we will have an episode this year. We're going to be talking about what we expect to happen in 2025. Matt and I are going to be coming at you tomorrow, Monday, the 13th of January on that. And again, aplusproductions.com is where you can find all of our shows for A Plus Entertainment, A Plus Sports, and A Plus Wrestling. Facebook.com, and you just search for A Plus Productions, and you can be part of the chat each and every single week. It's always a bunch of fun. Thank you to everyone who does participate in these chats. It really does make for a hell of an experience. And thank you guys so much, and thank you everyone for listening. On behalf of the entire A Plus crew, thank you so much, but most importantly, stay tranquilo.